Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a build guide for the Blood Hunter Order of the Profane Soul subclass. This is a mod that was made by LemonsSoup here. It's based off of Matt Mercer, who voices Minsc, and a campaign that he did with Vin Deisel, which is kind of funny enough, but he ended up adapting it and making the Blood Hunter class. We'll be doing the Order of the Profane Soul subclass today, which I consider kind of like a diet version of the warlock. So you can still get to choose a patron here, and you get all the fun abilities that come with the Blood Hunter. It's a very fun subclass. It's a subclass with a subclass. So now starting here at level 1, we get to choose between two different blood curses. And I really like the blood curse of the eyeless because you can protect your allies by giving an enemy who's attacking them a 1d4 penalty to their attack roll. And then we can also do this to all attack rolls they make this turn. On a fighter, that's 3 times value. Very powerful. And the blood curse of the marked is also nice because you can also amplify this to give yourself advantage in the attack roll against them. If you want to break concentrations, the muddled mind is good. And the blowed agony can be good because the attacker will take damage per turn. Now, this is an intelligence-based class, so we do have to have our intelligence be pretty high, and obviously to be able to land some of the saving throws, but it's actually probably best for us to go a little bit more into our constitution. So I think this ability score spread is actually probably best. And you even put those 2 points in the wisdom. I think this is a solid one, giving us some wisdom saves. There's a wisdom version of this class. This is the intelligence version. It's not majorly important, but it's enough that we want to have our intelligence high. But I'm going to roll with a stat spread of this here. Really just depends if you want more survivability, because this class is kind of like a high risk, high reward style class. Now, at level 2, we get our rites, and we get the Rite of the Storm, Rite of Flame, and Rite of the Frozen, which will add additional damage onto our attacks. This is very powerful, and it also can it'll damage us, but it's worth it. We get a fighting style here. We're going to take defense for the +1d to our armor class for more survivability. And the Rite of the Flame is good if we want to take the Fiend subclass, because we can get bonuses on our fire damage. I'm going to add in the Frozen. I think the Frozen works best here, but personal preference, we can take more of them as we continue to go through this. As level 3 comes around, we get to take our subclass. Now, I did a build for the Ghost Slayer and the Lycan, so you can check those out if you're curious. We'll be doing the Profane Soul next, so we get to choose cantrips. This also includes any spell mods you may have, like Dawnstar's Grimoire. We're going to be taking Eldritch Blast, very powerful, and Booming Blade. These are 2 really good ones, obviously. You can also grab Mage Hand to be able to throw healing potions at you or water bottles to set up extra damage on casters. Minor Illusion if you want to stealth around. And Friends is a great spell as well because this is great outside of combat. Also get to choose from the Warlock spells, Hellish Rebuke being a nice one to give a bit of extra damage. And Hex is good as a bonus action. We do have another, I guess our Blood Curse, which is basically Hex, but we can also get advantage on our attack rolls. Hex is good, but I don't think it's going to be perfect on this build, so I'm actually going to go with Armor of Agassiz for both cold and fire damage on our extra attacks. And we get to pick our subclass with the Otherworldly Patron. So let's quickly go through. In the Archfey, little typo there. When you deal damage with a Crimson Rite, the target becomes illuminated and cannot be invisible. That's really good. Fiend Patron, which is why I mentioned fire damage earlier. Whenever you do fire damage, you reroll the damage if you roll a 1 or a 2. The Great Old One, when you land a critical hit against a creature, they must do a wisdom saving throw. This is my personal preference. The Great Old One is not my favorite subclass of Warlock, but I think it works really well here. We do get different subclass features from this, but I think the Great Old One works very well at level 3. And the Hexblade's nice because this will actually give you damage equal to your proficiency bonus on anyone that you curse, but the Great Old One's very powerful for those crit frightened, which the enemy will have a disadvantage on ability checks, attack rolls, and they cannot move if they are frightened. Level 4, we get a feat. Alert, never a bad choice. You can also go with a dex improvement for better weapon attack rolls. We can use finesse weapon. I should also mention you can build around strength too if you prefer. I think alert at this level is the best choice just to give us some extra survivability. Level 5. This gives our Hemocraft magic here, so this will now do 1d6 damage to ourselves, but also our weapons will deal that as cold damage. It's really nice. We get a boost. We also get the extra attack. So this is a huge power spike because now you're doing a 1d6 extra cold damage on all of your attacks, and you get 2 attacks. We also get another choice in spell here. Nothing super major. I guess we'll take Arms of Harar. No, I guess we'll take Hex. Doesn't really matter too much. We also get at level 6 the Branded Castigation. So Seer and Arcane brand into a creature you attack with a Crimson Rite. Every time the branded creature deals damage to you or a nearby ally, you can retaliate, dealing damage equal to your spellcasting ability modifier. We also get the Blood Curse, the Bloated Agony, which will make the enemy take 1d8 damage. I guess that's the choice we got. I'd actually recommend taking this one here. If you want to break concentrations, the Muddled Mind is great. We get to take all of these if we go to level 20. So your personal preference. I just think this one's nice because if you want to wear enemies down quickly, this is a good choice to go with. Level 7 gives a subclass feature, Mystic Frenzy. When you cast a cantrip, you can make a weapon attack using a bonus action. So if we want to use Eldritch Blast and then follow that up, pretty cool. And I'll show you guys how this can actually be pretty powerful. We also get the Revealed Arcana. Our patron grants you use of a distinctive spell based on your pact. So I'll show you that in a second. We also get access to more spells here. Mind Spike being an included one, but this one's crazy because it says 100 turned. But Clouded Daggers is good for the guaranteed damage. I am personally a huge fan of Hold Person, critical hits, and the rites getting extra damage. We do a lot of damage with that. Shadow Blade is another consideration. This can be really strong. That's, I guess, another one that you can roll with. You can also, if you prefer swapping off, like if you're not using one of these other spells, you can go ahead and then take Shadow Blade here at this level. Like, again, if you're not using Hex, it's better to go with a spell that you will use. Level 8 gives us another feat. At this point, I think it's actually a good choice to go Savage Attack or rerolling our damage die. Because we didn't take the Fiend one, we can now reroll a lot of our damage die. And this actually applies to our Crimson Right damage as well. It's pretty powerful. Level 9 gives us a class feature advantage on history checks. Yippee yahoo! That's exciting. Darkness is fun, but we can't really see it unless we use an item. I like Darkness, but it's not for everybody. Mirror Image gives you a +9 to your armor class, so this is good for tankiness. And Misty Step gives you a teleport. So your choice. I like Darkness. I'm going to take it, but not everyone does. So that's why I showed two other options. Level 10, this gives us our class feature Dark Augmentation. Movement speed increased by 1.5 meters, and we add bonuses to our strength, dexterity, and constitution saving throws. We also get another cantrip here, and we can go with Mage Hand or Minor Illusion. And our next choice, I would actually recommend going with the Curse of the Muddled Mind here. Curse of the Anxious is good too, because you can actually help with landing a target's or your teammates' wisdom saves. So that's a good choice, being a bit of an extra support. We also now have a D8 or D10. It says D8, but it's 1D10 to our attacks. We also get, no wait, that is 1D8. It becomes 1D10 later, I should say. And Brand of the we get another subclass feature here with the, basically the same thing as earlier. You're going to deal your spellcast ability modifier to an attacker. We also going to take one more spell. Crown of Madness is a pretty fine one, but we're going to go Misty Step or Mirror Image there to just boost our armor class. Level 12, we get to take another feat here. Now, one thing that we could do is we can use two weapons if we wanted to use the dual wielder. That's kind of a fun choice. This gives us a very different feel for the build, but I like it. Ability score improvement on dexterity works too. And you can also go with I'm actually going to go with the dual wielder. I think this fits very well. And we can also go with, we can do dual crossbows, kind of give it a Van Helsing kind of feel to it. This is actually a request. Now we can stop at level 12. I'm going to go past it just because it does boost up. There is an update. It may not be on console. It's on PC right now where you can go past level 12. This lets us just take the rest of these, which aren't super necessary, but this one is a nice one to have, the Blood Curse of the Anxious. We also then can take all the Crimson Rites here, so we can fill that all out. We just get a bit more health and a few more feats. So it's, again, not necessary to go past this. Our die becomes a 1d10 at this level. This is the level that it is an update. I'm sorry, I corrected that earlier. We'll go with an increase our dexterity at level 16 here. And then once we hit level 17, we get another Blood Maledict charge. We'll continue to gain those as we level up. We get another Blood Curse here, and we can replace spells at any time if we wanted to use something a little bit different. We then get another feat here. Ability score improvement on your dexterity is nice. Or you can go with the tough feat, which will give us an extra 40 health if we go to level 20. It's kind of nice. And then finally level 20, we just get extra health. And the outfit is from Enchanted Threads by Airedale on Nexus Mods. All right, now for equipment. So we can see in darkness, we can use the Seal Watcher helmet. This is a fun one. Haste helmet in the early game is good. Cloak protection, your best available. Deathstalker mantle for Dirge is perfect here. I also got the Armor of Agility. Everyone can get access to it. It's just the best in slot. Puts our armor class up to 27 with this setup. Although you could also, in Act 1, use like the Adamantine Scale Mail or whatever's best available. We do have medium armor proficiency, so we can use it. Now, as mentioned, I'm going to be using the cold version of the right because we can then also proc the Winter's Clutches, which gives Encrusted with Frost on the enemy. This can help set up our other attackers on our team, especially if you have someone with like a hammer or any bludgeoning type damage, because we can potentially end up freezing a target. This is also nice when we pair this with the Boots of Stormy Clamor because this will apply Reverberation, which is based on our conditions. So there's double conditions. Booyah. Then we can also create the Snowburst ring here, which will put circles of ice below the enemy, which is really fun. And I guess another choice, we could put on the Ring of Free Action, which is kind of, okay, it stops difficult terrain actions, which is pretty nice because we're going to set up ice surfaces here and we don't have the boots. So this can help out a little bit. But you can also put on the Deathstalk or the Disintegrating Nightwalkers if you wanted the boots from Act 1. I also have the Amulet of Greater Health here, and I'm going to roll with a, we can do dual crossbows, so putting in our main hand the Hellfire crossbow, and then in the offhand Nair Mister or Fire Stoker. I like Nair Mister for the bonus action force damage. This gives it the Van Helsing kind of vibes. And then I also have Mark Hashgren in the main hand. This is twofold, because we're going to go into Shadow Blade here. So you can also use any type of weapon. If you didn't take the Shadow Blade spell, you can also use the Ring of Shadow Blade. None of these will be any different from each other. You can also use Rhapsody, the Knife of the Underman King, as a really good Act 1 item. I actually really like this. This could be good in the later games as well. And we could also use Charter Spear of the Evening to get the darkness that we would normally get from there. But I'm going to use this because we do get a free casting, so it's going to save us a spell slot. So we can just go ahead here, give ourselves the free Shadow Blade. So this is nice because then we'll get ourselves that for free. We don't have to worry about it. We can put it in the main hand there and then put our shield back on. And for shields, I'm using Viconia's Walking Fortress, although the Sentinel Shield with a +3 armor class, or +3 initiative, is nice too. Now we're in a tough situation right at the start, but we're just going to use Booming Blade right away because if you have the Resonance Stone, you're going to deal double damage. I'm actually going to roll a crit there just so I guarantee take them out. The thing is, with if you have the Resonance Stone from Act 2, it'll actually double all your psychic damage, which is great. So that makes Booming or Shadow Blade so much more powerful. We can then become one-shotting machine. We dealt 14 damage to this enemy already. Wow, critical miss. They still got hit with the reverberation though. I also forgot I should apply the Right to the Frozen right away. That was my mistake. Always apply that onto your weapon. And since we're in a slight shadow, it actually counts to trigger the ability to get the advantage on the attack roll, so we didn't end up missing there. Now we're just going to run up over here, and I guess the next, we'll just go with a melee attack here. It wasn't like the best round one. We'll use, so the great thing about using Booming Blade is we do a 2d8 plus 8 psychic plus 1d8 10 of cold plus 3d8 of thunder, and then they take a 4d8 of thunder if they move. That's pretty powerful. This again is at level 20. That was enough to knock him out and bounce him off the ice perfectly. So we don't have a bonus action this turn, unfortunately. So yeah, we used it for our cold damage. This is nice because we set up a bit of crowd control on the ground. Ideally, I would have got in more deep into the enemy lines, didn't have the enemies there to attack some of these where the ice would actually hit a lot of them. Because that's kind of the strategy here, is we're going to try and set up some difficult terrain at the start of combat, and then we can go ahead with using like our ranged attacks later. Now, nice thing is we do have Hellish Rebuke, so this can do a 3d10 of fire damage. Sometimes can be a decent bit. And the cool thing is our blade will actually glow blue with the ice that we got on there. So now, I guess we want to try and, again, set up any type of crowd control that we can. So stabbing strategically, trying to find those points where the ice is actually going to hit multiple enemies. We're immune to the difficult terrain, so we can just run around here, not really too bothered by it. And then what we want to do here is we have the ability to see in darkness, but they can't. I'm at a loss for ways to get them to move towards me, so I'm just going to drop the darkness here and kind of force them there. Typically, I would rather hide in the darkness myself. And what's kind of funny is now this target got reverberation from the darkness condition, so I blinded him technically, and that still procced my gear somehow. But I guess the real thing to do here is I'm going to mark a target using my bonus action here. This particular target that I don't want, and you can also amplify it if I wanted to. I'm going to amplify for the advantage because I don't have an advantage on ranged attacks. And I'm going to take the Van Helsing section of this build. We're going to use our Arrow of Many Targets. You can also use a gun mod if you really wanted to. Since we had an advantage on that attack, they were more likely to have landed a critical hit. We got 4 turns of reverberation on this enemy, 4 turns on that enemy, 2 on that. So we actually did a good amount of debuffing. That's going to give the enemies less likelihood of physical save. And this worked because it's forcing them to run forwards. Darkness and ice actually play nicely together. He was trying to put me in the darkness for whatever reason. And the reason that darkness and ice go together well is because fire will remove darkness typically. But what we can do is we can actually set up, stop any type of crowd control, any crowd control spells if you have the illicit abilities there. But we basically want to have the darkness and ice overlapping in certain ways so that we make the enemy's AI force them to run into the ice and slip and fall. They're blinded, so they're not going to be able to do anything here, and that's kind of why I wanted that, because now they're all coming to us, because I can't run back there, first of all, but second of all, this is just a good way to get them to end up slipping and losing their turns. Command is a terrible spell. I didn't have anything to stop it there. I'm also using the Resonance Stone, so we have a less likelihood of saving on that. That's one of the downsides of this build, is we're likely to get hit by crowd control. That's why you want to have someone counterspell, and I don't actually have someone with counterspell. Now, another cool thing is we can actually then use this here, which the Blood Curse, the Eyeless, they needed a 16 to hit. They rolled a 17. This will reduce a 1d4, which will protect, is likely like a good chance at that point to protect Shadowheart. So that was a good move to use there. And then we got to hit with slow, unfortunately. And hopefully we don't get the wombo combo now. Yeah, we're getting wombo comboed. Yeah, it's really not going our way. We're going to Booming Blade this one so they cannot hit us with another command. That was bad, getting womboed with that back to back. We're then going to run over and make sure that this one doesn't take us for a ride with that either. Creating that ice surface, getting rid of the summon. Perfect. I'm also just going to stab this target here, taking them out in one foul sweep. Then I'm going to use an arrow of many targets. There's a second target. I'm not sure exactly where they are, and they must be behind. Yeah, they're way over there. That's fine. Arrows, I guess, to do the Van Helsing kind of vibe. Arrows of humanoid slaying being particularly powerful because that's going to have a good chance of taking out enemy, just as you saw there. And I'm going to run back and try to finish off this enemy because I still have a booming blade, and I just had enough to get there. Perfect. All right, that was a scary turn of events. My hair model is freaking out. That is the Blood Hunter by LemonsSoup in Baldur's Gate 3. Oh no, Minsc, no. Let me know what build you'd like to see next in Baldur's Gate 3. I hope you guys all have a great day, and check out the other build guides that I've had for this subclass as well, or class one, I should say. Have a great day.